Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. In this video, I want to show you my honest review, and I hope I will be able to highlight all the pros and cons of this product. So let's begin.
Mom, please don't die. It's my wedding. All of our friends and family were in shock, and my daughter was crying her heart out as her mother was now lying unconscious on the church floor. Jesus Christ, what's going on? I shouted. We immediately called an ambulance, and instead of walking out of the church with a new son-in-law and a beaming bride, my poor wife left on a stretcher with an oxygen mask strapped to her face. By the time we've reached the hospital, she couldn't move her hand, her legs, anything. There's very little I can do right now, said the doctor. Your blood sugar levels were off the charts, and your blood was thick as syrup. You've been in a diabetic coma, and it's a miracle you're still alive. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Rose was only 49 years old. She'd been my wife for 27 years. We were happy with 3 beautiful children. And here I was, watching helplessly as she lay trapped in her own body, lying motionless on the cold steel hospital bed, facing the very real possibility that in a few months, or even a few weeks, she might be dead. Rose looked over at me and the kids and burst into tears. I felt stupid that I hadn't done more to help her take control of her type 2 diabetes when I had the chance. Angry at myself for believing the doctors when they kept on telling us to keep taking the meds. But now my wife couldn't move her limbs, and I had no idea if she ever would again. So, why am I sharing this story with you? Well, because the most traumatic day of my life, where my own wife almost died in my arms, turned out to be the beginning of a series of incredible events that would lead me to uncover a real breakthrough blood sugar lowering secret, known only to a remote group of monks living in a temple high in the mountains of Kathmandu, which has made these people practically immune to type 2 diabetes. This secret religious monk trick has since allowed my wife to quickly and naturally lower her high blood sugar, transform her cardiovascular health, shed a whopping 35 pounds, and then completely reset and heal her body from her dreadful type 2 diabetes, faster than any doctor would ever believe possible. This groundbreaking discovery, which has shocked the mainstream medical establishment and angered Big Pharma, is something that neither you nor your doctor will have heard about before. In fact, I'm here to tell you that everything you thought you knew about type 2 diabetes and how to control your blood sugar levels is flat out wrong. In the next couple of minutes, I'm going to show you hard scientific proof from research carried out at Thames Valley University in Brentford, England, and published in the Diabetes, Obesity, and Metabolism Journal, which proves beyond all doubt that your high blood sugar can be lowered, and your type 2 diabetes can indeed be reset and healed 100% naturally, safely, and in less than a month, without need for any prescription meds, without any painful and inconvenient insulin shots, and without any boring, restrictive diets that make mealtime seem like a chore rather than an event to enjoy. But best of all, you can do this from the comfort of your own home in less than 30 seconds. Yes, that's true. This revolutionary solution can be used successfully by anyone, whether you're suffering from type 2 diabetes or even pre-diabetes. Whether your blood sugar readings are just above normal or completely off the charts. Whether you've been diabetic for 10 minutes or 10 years. And if you're 19 or 90 years old, and it can do the same for you too. Today, I'm offering you the chance to finally become free of your type 2 diabetes, to never again have to worry about becoming a burden to your family financially, physically, or emotionally, and to feel healthier, happier, and more energetic than you have in years, or possibly even decades. Sure, it may sound like a dream, but I promise you, all of this can be a reality sooner than you may even dream to be possible. But before I reveal the simple little monk trick that will get you there, it's very important that you watch this presentation until the end, because with today's huge internet censorship, when even the ex-president of the United States can be silenced, there's absolutely no guarantee that it will still be here tomorrow, or even a few hours from now. And that's because the pharmaceutical companies behind the world's leading type 2 diabetes drugs will do everything in their power to have this presentation shut down in order to protect their multi-billion-dollar cash cow. The very same cash cow that has been deliberately designed not to cure you of your type 2 diabetes, but to keep you as a customer for life. And the last thing they want is for you to see what I'm about to show you. So pay attention for the next few minutes and listen to every single word I have to say, because I promise you this, just minutes from now, you will have an important decision to make and take complete control over your blood glucose levels, reset, and finally heal your type 2 diabetes with absolutely no effort, 100% safely and completely naturally. Just like the Hindu monks of Kathmandu who have been free of any type of diabetes for hundreds of years. But how can I make such a big promise, you may ask? How do I know all this works and is for real? Well, actually, it's pretty simple. It's because I am one of the very few people who know their secret. I know the exact steps they took, the exact foods they ate, the exact ancient protocol they followed, which not only healed my wife's type 2 diabetes and transformed her health, but is currently changing the lives of tens of thousands of diabetics right across America. Yes, nobody will tell you this, but if you've paid attention to the recent type 2 diabetes statistics, you'll notice something really strange. Recently, without any mainstream explanation, tens of thousands of people have vanished from the type 2 diabetes patients list, and now figure as normal, healthy people. Now, in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you all the mountains of breakthrough scientific research that proves beyond all doubt how your type 2 diabetes can completely be healed and how you can vanish from the type 2 diabetic statistics too. But before I get to that, let me introduce myself properly. My name is Michael Dempsey. I live in a small, quiet town in West Virginia, together with my soulmate and wife, Rose, who blessed me with 3 beautiful children, Mary, Joanna, and little Nathaniel. But even though God has given us plenty, it has also put our family to the test. And right now, I have a very personal and embarrassing story to tell you. Well, it's embarrassing for my wife anyway. But being the person she is, she's agreed to let me share it because she doesn't want the same thing to happen to you. And the chances are it will, if you choose to ignore what I'm about to tell you. Now, up until around 10 years ago, neither me nor my wife knew anything about type 2 diabetes. We were your average, happily married 40-somethings enjoying life. And, like the majority of people, we were taking our health for granted pretty much every day. Until one cold January morning, when we received the news that would change our lives forever. My wife was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. You too might remember that dreadful moment when the doctor broke the terrible news. As you can imagine, Rose was shocked. We all were. I mean, she wasn't even 40 years old at the time. She'd been an all-star track champion in her teens. Well, sure, she'd put on a little weight, but she was still the sporty one in the family. I was the lazy couch potato who hated exercise. Yet, it was her who'd been struck down with the big D. Straight away, the doctor put her on medication to regulate her blood glucose levels. And although we didn't realize it at the time, this moment would mark the beginning of a decade-long nightmare. You see, all any of her doctors wanted to do was to write a prescription to manage the condition with drugs. And this was the road we were forced down for the next 10 long years. But, as every other diabetic probably knows to their cost, despite all the promises, none of the meds improved her health, because they were never supposed to. Diabetes drugs can't, won't, never will improve or cure type 2 diabetes. They're merely designed to manage the condition. So you keep coming back for more. As the years rolled by, Rose's energy levels, vitality, mood, and general health and well-being went rapidly downhill. She piled on more and more weight, and the more and more weight she put on, the more depressed she became, and the further away she drifted from the woman I'd fallen in love with. But if that was bad, things were about to get a whole lot worse. 18 months ago, Rose was diagnosed with high blood pressure and high cholesterol too. And she began to suffer from sharp, stabbing pains in her left leg and foot. She was told that she had nerve damage and was prescribed more meds to deal with that, making her feel sicker and even more depressed. Within the space of just a few years, Rose's weight had ballooned from a relatively healthy 160 pounds to a massive 270. And despite the fistful of pills she had to take, her blood sugar levels were becoming dangerously high. So high, in fact, that she was about to have a date with the Grim Reaper on the day of our daughter's wedding. You see, Rose had been feeling tired a lot in the last few weeks before the wedding. And when the big day came, she didn't seem right at all. She seemed confused and said that she felt like she was coming down with a fever. But she knew she had to keep going. It was our daughter's wedding day, after all. Well, there was no time to feel sick. But as the day went on, Rose began to feel more and more unwell. Yet she pressed on, determined not to spoil our daughter's big day. Now we were all inside the church, the entire family, all of our friends and work colleagues, and as the vicar addressed the guests, I turned my head back toward Rose, asking her if she was okay. That very moment, it was like Rose's eyes had rolled to the back of her head. And then she fell. She crashed to the floor with a bone-crunching thump that echoed around the church, jolting everyone in it. Blood trickled from a wound just above her right eye. "Jesus Christ!" I shouted as I slid to the floor and cradled her bleeding head in my arms. We immediately called an ambulance, and instead of walking out of the church with a new son-in-law and a beaming bride, my poor wife left on a stretcher with an oxygen mask strapped to her face. And our daughter, whose white wedding dress was now smeared in blood, couldn't stop crying, shocked by what had just happened. My wife was rushed to the Mid-Coast Hospital, where the doctors made a shocking discovery. Her blood glucose reading was up at a crazy 605 milligrams per deciliter, and she was now in a diabetic coma. I had no idea whether she was going to live or die. The doctor explained that she had diabetic hyperosmolar syndrome, caused by extremely high blood sugar levels, and that what happened to her could practically happen out of the blue to anyone suffering from any type of blood sugar problems. Her blood had become thick like syrup, and she was so dehydrated her body had effectively shut down. Her brain had been starved of oxygen, and she was now partially paralyzed, with no way to tell whether she'd ever be able to walk again. As I sat there beside her hospital bed, holding her hand in mine, I made a promise to myself. If Rose survived, I was going to do everything in my power to defeat her type 2 diabetes for good. There was no way I was going to let my kids grow up without their mom, and I knew I wouldn't be able to cope without her by my side. I was going to fix her, and I was going to do it without drugs. After all, the reason for most of her health problems over those 10 years had been because of the drugs she'd been taking. That's when her health really began to unravel. Because you see, these blood sugar management drugs are in fact silently killing you, without you even realizing it. Fortunately, after a week or so, Rose began to regain the feelings in her arms and legs, and her health slowly improved. But she was still finding it almost impossible to control her blood sugar levels. And the conflicting advice from doctors and other so-called experts was not helping. It was incredibly stressful for us both. Do this, no, do that, pay this, buy that. I knew that if we didn't act soon, the same thing could happen again. And I wasn't going to run that risk. With modern medicine failing us, I started to research natural ways to lower blood sugar levels, like most of us do. But I didn't just scour the internet. For weeks, I visited libraries and read through hundreds of dusty old medical journals. I went to top universities, spoke to doctors, endocrinologists, alternative therapists, and even Chinese herb doctors for help. But I found nothing new. Just the same old tired advice of exercise more, eat less sugar and fewer carbs, and take your meds like a good little diabetic. Advice that you or any other diabetic listening to my story today has heard a million times before. But the more I've searched, the more I've learned about this dreadful curse. Nobody will tell you this. But did you know that according to the World Health Organization worldwide, every 30 seconds, somebody's mother, father, or grandparents loses a limb to diabetes? Every 30 seconds. Here in the United States, nearly 2 million people have to live without a limb because of this. Also, 1 in every 52 people suffering from blood sugar imbalances goes blind because of diabetic neuropathy. And if this won't happen, then there's a 50% chance they'll go into a diabetic coma like my wife. I felt like there was no way out, and that it was just a matter of time until Rose lost a limb, went blind, wound up in another diabetic coma, or even worse. But just when I was about to give up, I met the man that would change everything. One day, my wife and I were visiting the hospital for a checkup. It was routine for us after Rose had almost died from her condition. Normally, I'd go in with her, but this time I didn't. To this day, I can't really explain what made me stay in the waiting room. But I'm eternally glad I did, because what happened next would literally save Rose's life. After a couple of minutes, an elderly man holding some strange prayer beads with golden tassels sat down beside me. I'm a naturally friendly guy, so it wasn't very hard to strike up a conversation. The man's name was Nimla. As it turned out, he was a healing monk from a remote monastery near Kathmandu, Nepal. Intrigued, I asked him what was he doing here over 8,000 miles away from his home. And it's not every day that one gets to meet a Tibetan monk in flesh and bones. Well, smiling, he told me that he first came to the U.S. with a scholarship over 30 years ago to study medicine at the prestigious University of Pennsylvania. With all the knowledge acquired, especially regarding the healing herbs and plants found in the Western world, he then returned back to his home to embrace a religious life, but also to offer medical support to his people. Since then, he regularly kept coming to the States in search of new and rare medicinal plants. Unfortunately, during one of his latest nature trips in the Georgia Mountain region, he fell and sprained his ankle. How strange fate works sometimes, I said to myself, happy that only through this pure luck I was able to meet this wonderful and interesting person. Of course, he asked me why I was there, and I explained what had happened to my poor wife. The old man smiled, a knowing smile, and then turned his head toward me. I come from a place where type 2 diabetes doesn't even exist, he said. And it's because of the food we eat and the healing plants and herbs we've used for centuries to keep us healthy and strong. My heart began to race. Can you help us? I asked. Of course, he said, but I can't do much here. So if you want, you and your wife could come back with me at the monastery. We exchanged phone numbers, and 1 week later, together with my dear wife, we were all in this airplane about to land in Kathmandu. And after a 2 days trip through the mountains, we finally reached Nimla's secluded monastery. The next day, we all sat together and listened to Nimla telling us more about the monks, but most importantly, about his discoveries and special healing recipes. Apparently, a couple of years back, researchers at the University of Peradeniya in Sri Lanka traveled to the remote villages around the monastery to delve into the diets of the monks and of the local people. According to the study done on a population over 12,000 people, there were 0 recorded cases of type 2 diabetes or even prediabetes. Not a single one. The research team were amazed at the similarity in their blood sugar readings and how stable they were even after meals. The monks and pretty much all of the local population, both men and women, were all lean, athletic, and a picture of health, even those in their 80s and 90s. In fact, none of them had even heard of type 2 diabetes or insulin. The report concluded that there is a very low risk of this population to ever developing type 2 diabetes. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, especially since in this remote part of the world, people had absolutely 0 access to the latest modern medicine, type 2 diabetes, expensive drugs, and treatments. Again, Nimla smiled understandingly and told me that the secret for their healthy life was, in fact, no secret at all. The lack of any modern-day plagues like type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, heart and brain diseases was all because of a group of 3,000 years old special diet and healing recipes passed from one generation to another. It seemed that Nimla really did have the secret to finally treat my wife's type 2 diabetes. And so, together with Nimla, I began to go through the details of these recipes and discovered that one of the ingredients was the banaba leaf, or jarul, how the local population calls it. And this is a big reason why they're practically immune to type 2 diabetes. And the scientific evidence of this is absolutely undeniable. You see, banaba leaf plays an essential role in regulating blood sugar. Firstly, it slows the digestive process to ensure a steady, even stream of energy from your food by lowering the overall glycemic index of your meal. According to the latest scientific research, when you include banaba leaf in a meal with carbohydrates, for example, the carbs are broken down into glucose more slowly. And the result is amazing. Blood sugar levels remain steady long even after you eat. In fact, according to recent information published on WebMD, early research shows that it is enough to take a particular banaba extract for just 2 weeks to lower blood sugar by at least 10%. Just 2 weeks for such incredible results. Imagine that. Moreover, population studies verified by independent researchers from China, Australia, and India show that societies which consume most of their calories from the saturated fats of banaba leaves have practically 0 cases of type 2 diabetes. 0 cases. I found it very hard to believe, but the science was there. A study done in India in 1998, for example, showed that when Indians abandoned traditional diets which included banaba leaves and started using polyunsaturated fats like sunflower oil, the rates of type 2 diabetes shot up through the roof. But when they got back to banaba leaves, their blood sugar levels dropped to normal in no time. This was amazing news. It seemed that just this single amazing herb could regulate blood sugar and treat type 2 diabetes. Of course, my wife's doctor didn't know jack about banaba leaves. All he did was to hook my poor wife on expensive chemical drugs with more side effects than a laundry list. And it made me wonder, how come this sacred plant mentioned in the Buddhist text thousands of years ago is practically unknown in the Western medicine? Was somebody interested in keeping this life-saving plant a secret? And if yes, then why? But that wasn't even half the story. Nimla's list of type 2 diabetes natural busters was even more surprising. Eager to find out more, I was listening and reading to every piece of scientific evidence Nimla provided. That's how I discovered a study from Thames Valley University in Brentford, England, published in the Diabetes, Obesity, and Metabolism Journal, which showed that one common household spice used by the Nepalese monks and people reduced fasting blood glucose levels by a massive 29% in patient trials. And in a study at the Department of Nutrition at the University of California, Davis, the same spice was shown to normalize blood sugar levels in type 2 diabetics by dramatically improving the body's ability to respond to insulin. While another study published in Agriculture Research magazine found that consuming just 1 gram of this spice each day can increase insulin sensitivity and even treat type 2 diabetes. Yes, they actually said that it could treat type 2 diabetes, not manage. But there was more. A clinical study carried out at the Isfahan University of Medical Sciences in Iran and published in the International Journal for Vitamin and Nutrition Research found that a simple herb, also present in Nimla's recipes, reduced fasting blood sugar by 25% and bad cholesterol by a whopping 30% when soaked in water. I then discovered another natural ingredient, which had been shown to reduce insulin resistance by 45%. And then another ingredient that was able to lower insulin resistance by an average of 15% and actually increase the productivity of insulin-producing cells in the pancreas by 28%. And that was just the beginning. There were many other completely natural herbs, spices, and exotic plant extracts on Nimla's list, all of which were completely unknown to me, but that had been proven in clinical studies to lower blood sugar quickly and easily, effectively resetting the pancreas and successfully treating type 2 diabetes. Yet all of them were hidden away, suppressed by the pharmaceutical companies desperate to protect their multi-billion-dollar income stream. You see, during my research, I've discovered that diabetes is already worth $245 billion to Big Pharma. It's one of their biggest earners, and it's my opinion that the last thing they want is to release a natural treatment program that can lower blood sugar and destroy type 2 diabetes because it would cripple their business model overnight. According to a recent study published in the journal Pharmacoeconomics, a person with type 2 diabetes will spend an average of just over $283,000 to treat their disease over the lifetime. And that's just one person. But get this. A recent report published by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention predicts that nearly 1/3 of all American adults will be diabetic by 2030 if things don't change. We're not talking billions in profits for Big Pharma anymore, but trillions. And their business model will be destroyed if the world finds out that everyone can lower their blood sugar and finally treat their type 2 diabetes naturally, without drugs. This discovery alone made me feel physically sick. But it has also made me even more determined not only to treat my wife's type 2 diabetes, but also to offer a way out to everyone out there trapped in this vicious cycle of disease. Thousands of dollars spent and suffering. You see, as impossible as it may sound, sometimes it takes just a little bit of faith and one man to change the world. But now, I was no longer alone. And together with Nimla, we actually could do something now, not months or years. The science had proven the sacred plants worked. But the question was how fast and how effective they would be for people with severe type 2 diabetes like Rose. Running out of time to help Rose, I was anxious to see Nimla's formula at work. So that very next morning, Rose began following the exact protocol that Nimla had recommended. The first 24 hours passed and we noticed no significant change in her readings. Day 2 and day 3 went by and still no improvement. My initial excitement and expectation was beginning to wane, and I was starting to doubt everything that Nimla had told me. Had I been foolish enough to think that only some natural plants and herbs could actually treat my wife's type 2 diabetes? Well, no sooner than I had thought, a miracle happened. It was a crisp October morning, and I remember it like it was yesterday. Rose hadn't eaten for 8 hours and checked her fasting blood sugar level to find out that it had dropped by almost 50 points. We couldn't believe it. From this point on, the improvement was remarkable. And Rose's blood glucose levels continued to fall. 500, 427, 365, 310, 260, and so on, until it reached a safe and healthy reading of 120. And on top of that, she'd lost a huge amount of weight, exactly 36.5 pounds, and her overall health was improving every day. She had so much more energy. She was sleeping better. The aches and pains in her legs and feet were starting to gradually disappear with every day that passed. Seeing how Rose was now practically a new woman, as if all those horrible years of disease had completely vanished, we thanked Nimla for his help from the bottom of our hearts and agreed to stay in touch with him while Rose continued her treatment back home in Virginia. Despite this incredible transformation, we still couldn't believe it. But on visiting her doctor, Rose was told that her cholesterol level and blood pressure had come down dramatically, back into the normal range for the first time in 5 years. And if things continued at the same pace, she wouldn't need to take any medication anymore for anything. My children and I couldn't believe what we were seeing. This miracle was the work of God. And as a good Christian, I couldn't just keep this to ourselves. I then called Nimla to tell him the good news and that I wanted to let everybody know about this powerful recipe. Of course, he agreed and sent me a fresh batch of plants and herbs so I could share the protocol with others who needed it. You see, I knew that one person wasn't proof that the formula worked. It may have worked for Rose, but would it work for everyone? I had to know for sure. So I came up with a plan, and over the next few weeks, I posted a series of adverts on the internet requesting volunteers. In total, 106 people in various stages of type 2 diabetes and even pre-diabetes agreed to take part in the experiment. All kinds of folks, from young 20-year-olds to 90-year-olds, and all of them sick and tired of just managing their disease. Soon after, their results came in, and they were more incredible than any of us could ever have imagined. Close to 98% of patients achieved a dramatic drop in their blood sugar levels, bringing their blood sugar readings down from potentially fatal levels to completely stable and healthy numbers, sometimes in less than a few weeks. What's more, they lost pounds of ugly belly fat, and patients reported huge reductions in cholesterol levels, triglycerides, blood pressure, and nerve damage. Also, many were boasting great improvements in energy levels, muscle tone, mental agility, and even vision. In the weeks that followed, I began to receive hundreds of emails and phone calls from not only right across America, but from England, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada as well. My heart was glowing with joy, and at that moment I knew that I couldn't keep this life-changing protocol under wraps any longer. And I haven't. After seeing the effect that type 2 diabetes had on my own wife, I have made it my mission to ensure that no one else has to suffer like she did. Of course, in a perfect world, anyone, including you, would be able to supply your body with all the blood sugar busting herbs and miracle nutrients every day. But what I found by feedback from everyone who tried to do so is that it was always almost impossible to get the exact, specific, and natural ingredients recommended by Nimla, and that's because of 3 reasons. First of all, anyone interested would have to spend at least $2,000 on average just for a plane ticket to Nepal. Secondly, if you'd wanted to source the ingredients by yourself, since they are very rare, the companies who sold them quickly ran out of stock, leaving customers frustrated for months until they could supply another batch. Also, because of the high demand, these sources started price gouging, charging an arm and a leg for something that should have been affordable for folks like you who need them. I knew even though I discovered the secret to finally treat type 2 diabetes, I was letting everyone down. I felt like a failure for not giving everybody a place to get the essential ingredients. So, I decided to find a better, faster, and more effective solution. It took me over 6 months to find the best manufacturers in the industry, traveling the world looking for the highest quality, most cleansing ingredients, which, combined only with the correct amounts mentioned in Nimla's ancient recipes, would be able to lower blood sugar levels as soon as possible, on the long term and without any side effects. When I got my first batch, I tested it 4 times with top independent laboratories. The The results I got back proved it was twice as powerful than I was hoping for, and many times more powerful than anything on the market. I took this revolutionary type 2 diabetes solution and started giving it to those who needed it. And their condition improved so quickly, I didn't even think it was possible. Finally, I could say that I've created a truly proven and all-natural, powerful protocol that would be able to regulate blood glucose levels, kickstart the pancreas, and treat insulin resistance. And I've called it Vivo Tonic, the natural, safe, and scientifically proven solution for lowering blood sugar and treating, not just managing, type 2 diabetes from home. This completely unique solution, inspired by the blood sugar stabilizing diet of the Hindu monks of Kathmandu, contains the exact 3,000 years old Nepalese monks treatment used by Nimla. The very same natural protocol that enabled my wife Rose to slash her blood sugar readings from a potentially fatal 605 milligrams per deciliter all the way down to a safe and stable level in the space of a few weeks, thus completely treating her type 2 diabetes. Not to mention eradicating her paralysis, treating her nerve damage, lowering her blood pressure and cholesterol, and helping her shed a whopping 35 pounds at the same time. But it's not just my wife who experienced these results. This completely natural protocol has already transformed the health and lives of 61,297 people so far, and it will achieve the same spectacular results for you too. I'm 100% sure of this. But of course, you don't have to take it from me. So please, let me share some of the thousands Vivo Tonic success stories. Like this one coming from Rebecca Spencer, age 55, from Connecticut, who wrote us to say, I was 27 pounds heavier and had been diagnosed as being type 2 diabetic. I had been put on a metformin regime, but soon I began to have adverse reactions, so I quit taking it and began looking for an alternative. When I heard about Vivo Tonic, I admit I was skeptical. It seemed too good to be true. But since trying this, my blood sugar has trended down and my overall health has greatly improved. My levels have dropped from 148 to 154 to 98 to 112, and I have not experienced any bad side effects, and I feel much better overall. Thank you for this. Or Michelle Rivers, age 65, from Illinois, who shared with us her inspiring story. I must admit, I was very skeptical about this and even had all doubts you could possibly have. I couldn't sleep very well. Regular food didn't taste good, and my nerves were really bad. After reading everything published about the program, I had to at least try it. I really didn't have anything to lose. My blood sugar was at 400 and high 300s. It's now dropped to 200 and even 185. I'm doing better than I ever have for over a year. I was always sick, but now I feel truly great. I thought diabetes was going to take over my life, but being on your program has changed everything within me. Or Roland Terry, age 47, from Montana. Vivo Tonic literally changed my life. I lost over 25 pounds. I sleep better, I have more energy, and I've saved thousands of dollars already. I hope you will be able to keep this wonderful product up so that everyone can try it and change their lives. Those are just a few of the thousands of folks who rave about Vivo Tonic. Their lives were completely changed, and now we're like family. Many say Vivo Tonic is the most powerful and effective type 2 diabetes treating program on earth. In fact, in just over a month, this protocol succeeded where medication had failed for more than a decade. And I want you to have the chance to achieve the same life-changing results for yourself. Okay, so you may be wondering what your experience with Vivo Tonic will be like. And how exactly does it work? You see, when I decided to jump headfirst and create this done-for-you type 2 diabetes remedy, I made a vow that it had to meet 3 very important goals. First, the quality of the ingredients had to be world-class, better than anything you could get on your own. Second, it had to be easy to take, only a few seconds every morning with a couple of sips of water. Third, it had to be 90% less expensive than buying the ingredients on your own. As I've said, Vivo Tonic includes the exact type 2 diabetes-busting ingredients consumed by the Hindu monks in Kathmandu, where for hundreds of years there was no recorded cases of type 2 diabetes. That's why Vivo Tonic is packed with powerful blood sugar cleansing ingredients like banaba leaf, the sacred Buddhist blood sugar regulator, practically banned in the Western world, capable just by itself to lower blood sugar levels to normal levels faster than any chemical drug. What's crucial about this ingredient are its effects on reducing insulin resistance. More precisely, according to a study conducted by the Suzuka University Medical Science of Japan, banaba activates a special glucose transporter called GLUT4, which transports glucose from the bloodstream into muscle and fat cells. Banaba contains over 40 bioactive compounds beneficial not only to type 2 diabetes, but also for the well-being of your heart, cholesterol, and weight loss. It may seem a miraculous plant, but in fact, everything is based on science. In fact, as researchers from the DEXA Laboratories of Biomolecular Sciences, Indonesia, have proven, the antioxidants found in the banaba leaves have important anti-obesity effects, basically stopping the formulation of unwanted new fat cells and fat molecules. Moreover, banaba contains corosolic acid, which, during numerous independent animal trials, reduced the blood glucose levels of mice 4 hours after a single dose. No more unwanted fat? Check. No more high blood sugar levels? Check. But you'll find more than this inside Vivo Tonic. As you know, type 2 diabetes wreaks havoc on your liver. To eliminate this once and for all, we've added silymarin, which is a concentrated form of all the potent biocompounds found in milk thistle. How does this work? Well, actually, it's pretty simple. According to a breakthrough study published in the Journal of Pharmacology and Pharmacotherapeutics, silymarin restores the good functioning of the liver, thus controlling and normalizing the blood glucose levels in type 2 diabetes patients. A healthy liver is the first step toward maintaining normal blood sugar levels, and silymarin does exactly that. Now, as I said earlier, type 2 diabetes management drugs such as metformin did nothing for my poor wife, and most likely they do nothing for you as well. In fact, beside being expensive, they cause more harm than good. So I was completely ecstatic when Nimla told me about berberine. Even though not many people have heard about this powerful ingredient, it has been around for a long time, being used in traditional Chinese, Indian, and Middle Eastern medicine for over 400 years. And the reason for which you haven't heard about this yet will completely outrage you. You see, according to dozens of studies, berberine has been shown to help control blood sugar levels as effectively as metformin. In fact, it was scientifically proven that berberine outperforms metformin for A1C reduction. As one respectable doctor, which, as you may imagine, wished to remain anonymous for now, told us, berberine works exceptionally well, and most of my patients can finally get off most of their medications for diabetes. No wonder big pharma conglomerates don't want you to know about this natural ingredient and want you to remain hooked on their chemical drugs. Besides lowering blood glucose, berberine also improves your metabolism, fast forwards weight loss, and boosts heart health. And Vivo Tonic contains the perfect amount of berberine. How great is that? But this is not all. Vivo Tonic also contains Korean ginseng, which by now you should be familiar with. What's incredible about this ingredient is that it has incredible anti-inflammatory properties. It boosts brain health, improves all the metabolic processes, fortifies the immune system, fights ED problems, and even supercharges daily energy levels. And when it comes to treating type 2 diabetes, its effects are nothing short of miraculous. According to a recent study published by the Faculty of Medicine, University of Toronto, patients who consumed Korean ginseng in a double-blind, placebo-controlled study reported an 11% decrease in blood sugar levels, a 38% decrease in fasting insulin, and a 33% increase in insulin sensitivity. No wonder a single pound of Korean ginseng now sells for up to $8,000. Fortunately, we've managed to source the best variety of ginseng and make it available now for everyone in Vivo Tonic. Next, we've added green tea leaf, but not just any kind of green tea. The one contained in Vivo Tonic is packed with polyphenols and EGCG catechins. According to leading-edge research, EGCG catechins are essential to burn your fat and increase the fat oxidation. Since excess fat in your body is one of the main problems in type 2 diabetes, this compound is absolutely essential for your body. Moreover, beside lowering blood sugar levels, the compounds found in green tea can stimulate the metabolism as well as improve your immune system. Resveratrol and cayenne pepper are another two very rare and important ingredients that we've added, and the reasons are very simple. As proven in numerous studies, resveratrol significantly can decrease systolic blood pressure, fasting blood glucose levels, hemoglobin A1C, and insulin resistance. At the same time, cayenne pepper, which contains capsaicin, is beneficial for aiding your arteries and veins in getting their elasticity back. In turn, this can help normalize your blood pressure again. At the same time, this helps improve your blood flow, specifically through your extremities, which is where most of your high glucose complications come from. Finally, you can say goodbye to all that constant pain, tingling, and numbness in your feet and hands. And because we wanted to make Vivo Tonic the ultimate blood sugar supplement out there and speed up as much as possible the results for everyone out there who needed it, we've improved Nimla's list of herbs and added the most effective minerals and ingredients modern medicine has to offer. Zinc is another extremely important mineral present in Vivo Tonic that keeps your blood sugar levels in check. And because it is hard to get naturally in your diet, you may be one of the 40% of Americans who are suffering from zinc deficiency. But don't worry, Vivo Tonic has the perfect amount of zinc to reduce fasting blood glucose, total cholesterol, and triglycerides. Chromium, another little known but highly important ingredient inside Vivo Tonic, is used by the body to make GTF, or glucose tolerance factor, a biologically active compound that enhances activity of insulin by as much as 3 times. And last but not least, we've added the ultimate weapon when it comes to effectively defeating type 2 diabetes. I'm talking about alpha lipoic acid, the most powerful antioxidant extracted from natural sources such as broccoli and spinach. ALA does not only lower blood glucose, but it also protects against crippling nerve pain, and it significantly lowers the risk of diabetic retinopathy, protecting your eyes against macular degeneration. Just imagine your vision getting clearer and sharper day by day, being able to see the leaves on the trees, or read a car number plate from 50 yards away. How amazing is that? In total, Vivo Tonic is conveniently packed with over 11 essential, recently discovered, rare, and hard-to-find powerhouse herbs and ingredients. All were specifically balanced to help you take back control of your blood sugar levels right away, but also to help you lose weight, transform your health, kick your type 2 diabetes to the curb, and many, many healthy years, if not decades, to your life expectancy. And just imagine for a moment how that would feel. Imagine watching your blood sugar readings fall day after day, until your doctor gives you the thumbs up and tells you that you no longer need to take medication anymore. Imagine the feeling you'll have when the weight starts falling off and you can fit into the jeans you haven't worn in years. Imagine no longer needing to take a blood sugar reading ever again. I'm talking no more test strips, no more needles, no more hospital visits, and no more having to watch everything you eat or deny yourself your favorite foods. And imagine the feeling you'll have when you know that every day from now on, you're dramatically reducing your risk of heart disease, kidney failure, blindness, nerve damage, and lower limb amputations. Which will mean you're able to spend quality time with your children and watch your grandchildren grow up, get married, and have kids of their own. All you have to do is take Vivo Tonic once a day and witness the results. It could not be any simpler. Thousands of men and women just like you are transforming their health and their lives as I speak, thanks to Vivo Tonic. In fact, the men and women who have had success with this protocol would be the first to admit that they're not unique or special in any way. They're just regular people who have been failed by mainstream medicine and have instead followed a simple system of eating that has been proven to work. Period. So, the next question you're probably asking is this: how much is Vivo Tonic? And how can I get it? Well, before I answer that, I want to make it clear that you shouldn't be thinking of this as a cost at all. This is an investment in your long-term health, which is the most important investment you could ever make. I'm talking about finally treating your type 2 diabetes and transforming every aspect of your health so you can get back to enjoying life again without the worry, cost, and inconvenience of type 2 diabetes. In contrast, the decision to walk away and save money today will not only cost you your health and many years of your life, but it will cost you tens of thousands of dollars too. Remember, a person with type 2 diabetes spends an average of $283,000 to treat the disease over their lifetime. So, the decision to invest a tiny amount today will not only transform your health and happiness, but it will save you a colossal amount of money over the next 10, 20, 30 years or more. And not just for you, but for your loved ones too. So tell me, how much would you pay to avoid a type 2 diabetes bill totaling $283,000? How much value do you place on your health and that of your families? How much would you be willing to part with to protect yourself and your loved ones from the pain and suffering that goes hand in hand with a lifetime of type 2 diabetes? Whatever that figure is in your head, forget it. Because the last thing I want is for price to be a factor in your decision. In fact, making money was literally the last thing on my mind when I set out on this journey. My mission was to help as many people as possible to defeat their type 2 diabetes. And I'm happy to say the number is now approaching 38,000. So although NIMLA has recommended a price of $997 for this remedy, and many people I've spoken to have said that they would happily pay triple after experiencing the life-changing results for themselves, I'm not going to ask you for anything like that figure. In fact, I'm not going to ask you for even a quarter of that, or 1/10 for that matter. Instead, for a strictly limited time, you can pick up Vivo Tonic at the largest discount I will ever be able to offer simply by choosing your money-saving package below. And here's the best part. You can really step up your savings big time when you choose to take advantage of our most popular 3-bottle discount package, or our 6-bottle ultimate discount package, both of which will save you a ton of money, and on top of today's already special pricing. Remember, this is a severely discounted one-time offer that you will not have access to again once you leave this page. Therefore, in order to avoid future disappointment or price increases, be sure to pick up the multi-package discount at huge savings today. So, which money-saving package should you choose? If you're absolutely serious about fully treating your type 2 diabetes, I recommend securing at least 3 bottles. This will allow your body to fully restock all the much-needed blood sugar-lowering nutrients and undo all those years of type 2 diabetes damage. But if you've suffered from blood sugar problems for more than 3 years and want to finally say goodbye to finger pricks, test strips, or injections, if you don't want to keep denying yourself the foods you love or sweet desserts, if you want to be independent again and live your life without the fear of losing your eyesight or even a limb, you should consider taking advantage of our 6-bottle ultimate discount package to maximize savings. Even though Vivo Tonic is very powerful, Honestly, there is no way for me to know how advanced your type 2 diabetes is right now, or how much your body was ravaged by this horrible disease. So I strongly suggest you make the right investment for your health with confidence. To get started and begin your journey to finally be able to say, I am now type 2 diabetes free, I beg you, make the correct choice and choose your package now. That's it. It's a one-time payment. You get everything today. But before you take action, there's something else I want to make clear. If you're a little skeptical about whether this protocol can really work for you, I completely understand. After all, from the moment you were diagnosed, you've been bombarded with drug-friendly propaganda from adverts on TV, paid for by multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical companies, to actual doctors who are paid commissions to prescribe those drugs. The fact is, illness and disease is big business for corporate America, and the type 2 diabetes industry alone is worth $250 billion. That's 250 billion reasons why Big Pharma doesn't want you to believe what I'm telling you. So, believe me, I completely understand if you're a little skeptical right now and don't believe that any kind of natural treatment can work for you, because the mindset Corporation America has given you has spent billions cultivating in every one of its citizens. So here's what I'm going to do. To prove to you that Vivo Tonic works, and because I want as many diabetics to get their hands on it as I possibly can, I'm going to give you a 60-day risk-free money-back guarantee. This means you have a full 2 months to put Vivo Tonic to the test. Read the guide, try out the meal plan, and all of the recipes. And if you don't see a dramatic reduction in your blood sugar levels during that time and a noticeable improvement in your symptoms and overall health, then simply email me at the address provided in the members area, and I will refund every single cent with no questions asked. This is my ironclad promise. 100% money-back refund, even if the container is completely empty. So, make your choice. Click on the Buy Now button below and start your journey toward a type 2 diabetes-free life in the next 90 seconds. Well, of course, you can always choose the basic package. Some people do so. But again, I'm sure you wouldn't want to miss out on all the great benefits and added protection for free and at no extra risk if you act now and go for the exclusive Vivo Tonic 3 or 6 bottles options. I'm sure you will thank yourself later for doing the right thing. All you have to do is enter your payment details, place your order, and in a couple of days from this moment, you'll get Vivo Tonic delivered to your home. But act now. It's the only way to secure your package while supplies last. So right now, you have 2 options. Option 1. You can choose to do exactly what the mainstream healthcare system wants you to do and carry on taking your meds. But remember, by doing this, you'll never be free from drugs. Type 2 diabetes medications were never designed to cure you. It was designed to manage your condition so that you remain trapped on the medication merry-go-round until the day you die. That's the way Big Pharma-backed type 2 diabetes treatment systems work. It locks you into a lifetime of drug dependency. And remember, the average diabetic will spend $283,000 to treat the disease and its complications during the course of their lifetimes. That's the financial cost of doing nothing. The human cost is far greater. I'm talking about excessive weight gain, losing a limb, nerve damage, blindness, kidney failure, and more. And you'll inevitably be cutting your life short by years and possibly even decades. Is that really a risk you want to take for the sake of a few bucks? Do you really want to play fast and loose with your health and potentially lose a hand or a foot or go blind or suffer a devastating episode that could leave you paralyzed, brain damaged, and consigned to a wheelchair for the rest of your life, unable to function or even talk? I'm not trying to scare you here. These are the very real risks of doing nothing. Or, here's the second option, the smart option. Investing a tiny one-time payment in Vivo Tonic today so that you can put it to the test completely risk-free for full 60 days. And just imagine the difference this could make to your life. No more finger pricks or test strips. No more injections. No more having to deny yourself the food you love. No more having to live your life with the constant worry of crashing, hanging over you, or ending up in a diabetic coma. And no more fear of having your life cut drastically short and devastating the lives of those you love. Both you and your family deserve better than that, and this is your chance to make it happen. Thanks to this protocol, I have my wife back. My children have their mother back. And tens of thousands of people right across the world now have many happy years to look forward to without the fear, frustration, and inconvenience of type 2 diabetes. And this is your chance to join them. But time is running out. This website has already been taken down multiple times, and there's only so long I can keep fighting a multi-billion-dollar industry. So, I really urge you to take this opportunity while you still can, before the site disappears for good. So make the right decision now, both for yourself and your family. Choose your package below and put Vivo Tonic to the test. Completely risk-free for the full 60 days. And finally start living your life the way you truly deserve. Healthy and type 2 diabetes free. This has been Michael Dempsey, and I look forward to hearing your success stories very soon. Still here? No problem. I completely understand. After what I've just revealed, it's pretty shocking, I know. It's a lot to take in, and you might still have a few questions that you need answering. Which is why I've decided to compile a list of my most frequently asked questions, so you have all the information you need to make an informed decision. Michael, if Vivo Tonic works so well, why didn't Big Pharma develop it themselves? That's a good question, but what you might not know is that natural ingredients cannot be patented by any company or anyone, so there's no way for a pharmaceutical company to profit from any kind of natural substance. Unless they chemically alter it and turn it into a drug, and the FDA approval process can take anywhere from 10 to 15 years. This is why Big Pharma spends billions of dollars every year suppressing the release of natural treatments, blocking research, and incentivizing the medical profession to dish out drugs as a first line of defense against every health condition, rather than encouraging them to recommend natural foods and treatments. Natural products that are proven to work are the #1 enemy of Big Pharma. Michael, does Vivo Tonic really work? Look, we're all human beings, and our bodies are all functioning in the same way. Sure, results will vary across individuals, and some will see quicker and more dramatic reductions in their blood sugar levels than others. But ultimately, the specific nutrients, vitamins, and minerals found in Vivo Tonic will have the same positive effects on everyone. Inferior versions of this protocol have been used for centuries by the Tibetan monks and people in Kathmandu who have no recorded cases of type 2 diabetes. But with the upgraded version of Vivo Tonic, you'll be getting a solution up to 7 times more effective at regulating blood sugar and treating the disease. And to prove it, this remedy has already worked for 37,838 people. So why would it not work for you too? And that leads me to more questions that I often get asked. Will this remedy work for me? And the answer is yes, absolutely. As I said, this Vivo Tonic has worked for almost 38,000 people already. But I completely understand if you're feeling a little skeptical. And that's why your order comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee. If you don't see the reduction in blood sugar levels that you're hoping for, your symptoms don't dramatically improve, or you change your mind for any reason at all, then simply email me at the address provided in the members area and I will issue you with a full and prompt refund. No catch, no hoops to jump through, and that's a promise. Will my details be secure? Yes, I can absolutely guarantee it. Our ordering system contains state-of-the-art encryption technology, so when you order with us, your information is 100% safe and secure. How long will the program be available for? Truth is, I really don't know. I've already been threatened with legal action if I don't remove this presentation immediately, and I can't fight Big Pharma for much longer. The pharmaceutical companies are making billions every single year from type 2 diabetes and its many related health complications, so they will stop at nothing to prevent a natural treatment for high blood sugar from hitting the market and threatening those profits. So, if you want a proven, safe, and completely natural way to lower your blood sugar levels quickly and easily, lose weight, and transform your overall health in the process, then I urge you to act now while you still have the chance. Go ahead, choose your package and click on the Buy Now button below and get started completely risk-free for a full 60 days.
Cool, right? Click the link in the description for my price discounted special.